and to have the conversation on rural dwellers and safety of Nigeria's forest. Our guest, who is Emmanuel Watu SC, who is the principal staff of public relations unit of the State Command. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you, of
Thank
course.
you.
So, just as we read out, this increasing insecurity problem in Nigeria, and you find out that these people dwell in the forest, they live in the bushes, thereby expanding and driving farmers away from their farmlands, as far as even making them homeless. And we have forest guards in Nigeria. Is it that they're not doing their job enough, or these people are overpowered them?
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful question. First of all, let me just begin by clearly introducing myself. My name is Superintendent of Corps Watu Emmanuel. I am the PA to the State Commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Enugu State Command. I'm also, like you rightly introduced, the principal staff of the Public Relations Office of the State Command, and I'm delighted to be here this wonderful evening on this beautiful program, Signature TV. Evening.
Exactly, on Signature TV.
Beautiful, isn't it? So we are really, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps remains that paramilitary agency charged with the protection of lives and property, and of course the protection of critical national assets and infrastructure, of course crisis management, and that is very important. That relates to disaster management, peace and conflict resolution, the Agro Rangers, which is a very unique outfit in the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and of course counter-terrorism too. We have specialized units for all of this. Of course, the NSCDC is also in charge of the private guard, regulation of private guard companies, and of course intelligence and investigation is the backbone of what we do. The NSCDC has not changed, so it is a very disheartening situation where we find ourselves in a place where our rural dwellers, who are people who live in communities in suburban areas where there are not much development, scarcity of amenities, scarcity of infrastructure, such as telecommunications, such as light and all of that. These are people who depend on our forests. These are people who depend on the forest for livelihood. So when we talk about forests, we're not just talking about the large expanse of trees. We are talking about livelihood for the common man. We are talking about livelihood. People, they derive their herbs, medicines, food, and even cultural identity from these forests. And so it becomes a truly sad situation where we find out that this same forest that should protect these people, secure their lives, and not just their lives, but the lives of the entire citizenry, become a hideout for criminals, for bandits, for kidnappers, and quite a lot of other atrocities and illegalities happen within the forest, which will include, of course, drug cultivation, illegal mining, some people who want to exploit resources of Nigeria without being properly licensed for it, and very many other atrocities. So it is quite a complex situation, because we find out that Nigeria is faced with this very paralyzing situation. And just like you said, there are quite a number of agencies that have been set up, security agencies, conventional security agencies. We also have the vigilante. We have the neighborhood watch groups. Of course, we even have the newly established forest guard, the National Forest Guard Bill, which has just been signed into law by the president, which is another beautiful addition to what we have. And so Nigeria is not in lack of what I may call security agencies. And so the problem becomes more when we wonder why these kind of things continue to happen. Well, let me begin by being very frank, by saying that it is not really a problem of manpower, even though that is a situation. Because if we are being truthful, we know that we are, it is, the 1 to 450 men, according to the United Nations prescription, in terms of policing, is not being achieved. Certainly not in Nigeria. And so we are a far cry from achieving this. So manpower is truly an issue, but then there are other problems of logistics. It's not so much about, you may recruit 10,000 people today, but they won't be effective. They won't be effective because you have not equipped them. You have not given them the necessary mobility to be able to police these critical areas. Because these people, they choose these outskirts where they know that security presence is not as strong as you have at the center. And they exploit these people. They create hideouts, and all of these things happen. So that is what I will say at this point, that we do not have the adequate logistics
for all this.
I am not talking only for this Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. I am talking about the same situation for all other security agencies, including the police and even the military. So there is need for a concerted effort. That effort should be that all and sundry should recognize that this is a challenge that is facing us. So that's it.
So we have people being recruited often into these different sectors. So many people being recruited annually or whichever time period it is given. So are they not supposed to be made provision for their welfare, the well-being, the materials you need to work? Because you can't go to the farm without your farming tools. So these things are they not supposed to be in place? And we have like budgets for them every single year. So what is the money being used for?
Yeah, that is right. We have seen that I am not saying that we do not have provisions in any way. I am just saying that it is not sufficient. There is need for the government to step up in provision of logistics. For instance, when it comes to crime fighting in forest areas, it requires a lot of, logistics like mobility, and that would include, of course, motorcycles and vehicles. That will also include, of course, technology like drones, for instance, which will be able to access areas that are not easily accessible. That will also include infrared goggles, for instance, so that people can see in the night. I clearly remember an incident where I was in a task force, a joint task force, and we stumbled upon this incident that happened where someone was being robbed, and the criminals had just entered into the forest, but it was night. We of course we were tempted to go in, but we knew that would be pure disaster. What it means is that you could be ambushed because these people already know that the terrain of this particular area, and if you move in suddenly without proper gadgets, what happens? You could be wiped out in a second. And so you can see some of the dilemma that we face on the field. It is not very easy to fight in such difficult terrain. So that's just what I'm saying, that we need support. What the government is doing is great, but we need more support. We really want to, praise the state governor who has done a lot. We are thankful for having cameras in major parts of our cities, policing, helping to do the policing work, making it easy. We're happy for the control room at the government house, which offers a wonderful opportunity for security agencies to perform optimally. But more needs to be done.
So how has the forest-related insecurity really contributed to rural migration and food scarcity? Just as Benue State was attacked last month, and people have really fled that particular local government because of how unsafe it is, and also they are homeless, and thereby they can't even go to their farms to cultivate rather. So how has this thing really affected even food security, not just security, the security of the people as well? Because Benue is known as a food basket of the nation, and if people don't cultivate on their farms, they will go hungry and starve to death.
Well, I would say quite a lot. You see, and let me use Enugu as a case study. In Enugu State, most of these attacks happen within these agrarian communities at the outskirts. These are people who provide food, as it were, for the state. And one other thing again is that these are people who have faced such similar attacks in the past. And so the fear is there. The terror is there. They basically, when there is any rumor of such an event happening, everybody abandons everything and flees.
I mean, it's
wants,
human behavior. You won't blame them.
That's it. So everybody flees, more or less. And we know what that does to agriculture. The impact will be felt massively across the state. So we are losing so much. I mean, you only need to go to the markets these days and you see what the price of food is. And you'll understand that we are living in perilous times and that we must do all we can to protect and assure these farmers that the government is truly concerned. Because that is, the primary function of government, to provide security to the people. And so we must do all we can. So the impact is incredible. The trauma on the people, the displacement, and the impoverishment, because these people are already poor. And then when the opportunity comes for them to eke out a livelihood, they are denied even that. So it is terrible at that level. It is also terrible because the ripple effect is felt right there, in the urban centers. And that is the high cost of living, the high cost of foodstuff in the markets, and it's horrible, just to put it lightly.
Okay, you had mentioned that there was an incident that happened at night, and obviously you can't go into the bush at that time of the night because you can't see what is ahead of you. But let's talk about the day after, when it's dawn and everywhere is bright. What really happens? Is it not necessary to, because these people live in the bushes, so they don't live in the sky, and you have access to the bushes. So what exactly is being done when the day is bright?
Yes, that is why I say that there must be concerted efforts. Everyone must really participate to be able to rid our forests of these criminal elements who believe that because they have a place to hide, they can operate without any disturbance. The community must realize that beyond just being victims, I'm talking about the rural communities, that they form the first line of defense, as it were. I mean, isn't it wonderful that when you want to construct or build something in a remote place, the next second somebody already knows that you are there. I mean, what it means is that these people, the rural dwellers, have intelligence. They are able to identify strangers in their community. They are able to identify strange movements and things that are new within the community. But perhaps the problem is that they do not even know how to. The sensitization is not enough for them to know how to report.
But these same people are armless.
Oh yes, yes. But there is so much that they can do, and that is where the NSCDC comes in. The fact that you do not carry a gun or you do not carry a knife does not mean that you are entirely what we call vulnerable or unable to do anything. There is so much that they can do. One, they can form security watch groups, in such areas where people, youths, even women can be part of that kind of activity, where they can come together and help to police They also, of course, the neighborhood watch play a very important role. Now, we're not asking that these people, these innocent people, should just go and engage. What we're asking is that they should know how to report incidents accurately. They should realize that they form the first line of defense, like I have said already, and that they can truly be a game changer by cooperating with conventional security agencies, by cooperating with the neighborhood watch groups and other security agencies. So by working together in harmony, I am sure that we can be able to do this. And so quite a lot of effort is required from the community, but also from the security agencies themselves. Even though I have told you that most of our work is hampered by some kind of logistical problems and mobility. But NSCDC nonetheless undertakes joint patrols, with other security agencies to ensure that these roads that traverse our forests are properly monitored. Because, a lot of incidents of people, of kidnappers, stopping passengers on the way and taking them, whisking them into the bush happens all the time. These kind of atrocities cannot continue, but we need technology.
So what exactly are the main causes of this rising insecurity problem that is always coming from the bush?
Yes, the cause of this insecurity is multifaceted, let me put it that way. First of all, it may come from poverty, general poverty. It may also come from, conflicts that result in pastoralists trying to move their cattle and the animals and having conflicts with the communities within these particular maybe border areas, and a lot of other issues which are very deep, because Nigeria has traversed a history of and then of course people, even incursions from even outside the country, coming into Nigeria and setting agenda, as it were, that are best known to these armed personnel. These armed bandits, kidnappers and headsmen who simply want to dominate and take over these areas. It's almost becoming like genocide, really. Very, very worrisome. So I would say quite a lot of things could result in it. But I think that the government needs to do more in terms of ensuring that there is employment for our young people. And that is why the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is doing a lot in the area of youth development. Just recently, we had a program where we partnered with certain private NGOs, the Galaxy of Stars, the Association for Better Nigeria. And we had a very wonderful program at the PPSMB where we rallied around secondary school students with the aim of educating them about the evils of drug abuse. Because we believe that the terrorists and the bandits that you see today were,
once
innocent children. And if we can catch them young, I am sure that we can do a lot to safeguard their future and the future of Nigeria in the future. Okay,
so what can be done now in order to reclaim the forest park? Because it feels like it doesn't belong to us anymore, and you're unsure of what will come out of it to attack you the next day.
Yes. What can be done now is, I believe that the government should invest more in the use of technology. I remember that there was a time when there was quite a lot of incidents happening within the Ugogo OP area, and at a point they had to clear the bushes and all that. We cannot continue to clear down all our bushes, because these bushes, these forests represent a lot in terms of resources for our people. And so we must begin to think technology. We must begin to think of the use of drones, for instance. We must also begin to think of the use of dogs, the kennels units, because these dogs are very powerful tool that can be used against these terrorists, especially at night. And so the use of, like I mentioned earlier, the use of infrared, is the use of machines, that can help these security agencies to go right into the forest. So these are the kind of things I think we can focus on. But most importantly, sensitizing the people on the role that they themselves can play to support the effort of these security agencies.
You have just mentioned what should be done. So what has the government done so far in order to make the people of these affected areas feel safe?
Yes.
Because you won't go back to your house if you're not given the assurance that it's safer to live in.
Yep. Let me talk about what the State Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has done since his assumption on the 1st of November 2024. One of the things that he did was to create new divisions, because sometimes, originally we had one divisional officer per local government area, and that is, in some local government areas like Uzowane, they are so large, and we decided that the commandant decided that there was a need to create more divisions, and so he created an additional 20 divisions. That would help to bring security down to the grassroots, because NSCDC is a grassroots paramilitary agency, and that means that our structure, is designed in such a way that it goes from the federal right down to the local government areas. That is one. We also have more area commands. We had 3 previously, but now we can talk of having 7 altogether. That is one thing that is doing. The state command is also partnering with people, traditional rulers, president generals of communities, and youth leaders. And on a continuum, the state command also from time to time meets with like we had sometime last year, a meeting with the Mieti Allah community, where there was a lot of discussion, very fruitful discussion, on peaceful ways of resolving, farmer-header conflicts. In addition to that, of course, within that same meeting, that Mieti Allah meeting, they were advised to, let me call, report those bad members, those whom they know are evil, and to ensure that they do not allow them to be comfortable within their midst. So these are some of the things that the State Command is doing, and I know that the government is very supportive of, I think the government should continue to ensure that they promote security meetings, because I know that those monthly security meetings where the security heads meet is a very fruitful opportunity for, intelligence to be brought to the center. But I know that it has not been going on for a while. That such meetings have not been going on for a while. Okay. And so there is a need for those kind of meetings to be revived. There is need for more communication. There is need for the security agencies themselves to make themselves, more appealing, so that the civilians can feel very free to come to them and report incidents and bring actionable intelligence. Because that's one other problem that people are having. Sometimes they feel that those in uniform are not to be trusted. Sometimes they fear that will they have confidentiality, when they report incidents. Yes, give out the statement. So we are working hard. The NSCDC, of course, is an organization that believes in the rule of law and human rights and protection.
So how can these local communities be empowered ahead of situations like this?
Yes. First of all, like I said, they need to be sensitized, and the NSCDC is actively doing this. We have our divisional offices, and all our offices are open to the public, so they can take advantage of the opportunity that presents right there at the local government areas. Trust these divisional officers who have been mandated to represent the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the ideals of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, right down there in the divisions. They should take advantage of this opportunity, and like I said, ensure that they understand the reporting procedures, ensure that they have the lifelines of security agencies, including the police, of course the army, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Ensure that they report suspicious activities within their community. They should also realize that, you know, they are responsible for the well-being of their community. And those people who are aligning with them, because that is another situation. We have sometimes people who, because these people don't just come in and operate without having somebody helping them. I'm talking about indigenes who are evil. And so if these young people, if these youths recognize that there are such people within their community, they should report such people to the security agencies and get them expunged from their community, because they are, a very terrible existential evil. So that's what I think.
So when it comes to deforestation and other environmental degradations activities, how is it helping already affecting the development of rural communities in Nigeria?
Let me take that question again. Let me get it right.
The deforestations and also other environmental degradation situations or activities.
Yes.
How is it being? Has it affected the Nigerian rural communities and the development of it too?
Oh, like I said, quite a lot of loss of economic revenue happens when this happens. It is important that we strengthen our forest laws to protect these reserves, these forest reserves, which represent a veritable resource for Nigeria's prosperity. I know we have about 13 reserves in Enugu State. That is from the 4 major forest reserves, and all of these reserves need to be protected. There are also activities of illegal miners. Of course, the NSCDC is the watchdog when it comes to illegal mining, and quite a lot of people are denying the federal government its royalties, and that is where the NSCDC seriously frowns at this. And just recently we had a stakeholder meeting with stakeholders in the mining sector, borrow pit miners and tanker driver, lorry truck drivers who carry these products, and it was quite a very fruitful discussion. Many of the truck drivers were worried that many times they have been arrested by Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Well, we told them that, because they are the ones we know. We advise them not to deal with illegal borrow pit miners, because definitely they will be teaming up with the wrong team and they will be arrested along with those illegal borrow pits miners. So the problem of drug farming is also rampant, and so basically it is, of course, destroying the youth. Drugs destroy the youth and makes them to lose their senses and engage in criminality. So all of these things, all security agencies, that's the beautiful thing about Enugu State, are working in a concerted way to deal with this kind of anomalies.
Okay, so far that we are rounding off already, what is being done in situations like this? We have the forest guards. Are they going to do more in terms of having proper access to this forest and being provided what they need? Because these people are not far from us. The same, if they can access this same forest, our forest guards should also be able to access the same location. So what exactly has been put in place, or what do you suggest should be done in order to get an effective job carried out?
Yes, I think what should be done is not proliferation of more and more agencies. The government should begin to think of how to strengthen these existing ones. I don't think there's any need. I think we have more than enough as it is.
More than enough what?
Yes, security agencies.
Of course we do.
And the government should think of how to strengthen them. I mean, many of these agencies are not able to move because most of their vehicles are grounded. I think it is also a call to action for the good people of Nigeria, philanthropists, to support, and private organizations, to support the work of the government, which, as we can all see, is certainly not enough to be able to properly position the security agencies to carry out their role effectively. And so there is a need for us for the good citizens to own their security agencies, to believe that this is our own. I mean, there's nothing wrong in an organization donating vehicles, for instance, to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, or to the Nigerian Police, or to the military. There's nothing wrong, because we recognize that things have come to a head, to a point where we really need to aggressively pursue a common front, which is to fight against banditry and terrorism.
Okay, let's talk about budgeting. We understand that there's a budget for all the security agencies annually or whatever time frame it is. This budget is supposed to be used to oversee the welfare and so many things that it requires to run the offices. So what exactly is it being used for if you don't have the certain things that you need during your course of service?
Now, it is that mindset that I am hoping that we can begin to correct now. That mindset that they are being given everything. That's
but there's a budget.
Yes.
And it's being received.
Well, yes, but the budget is certainly not enough.
Okay.
There is a budget, but it is not enough. I mean, our experience is sufficient proof that the budget is not enough.
So you're calling out for a review of budget?
Oh, well, I am saying that yes, there should be a step up in budgets to security agencies. It's very important. I am asking that there should be a step up to even allow salaries and whatever allowances, because these are people who put their lives at risk. I am calling for proper care for widows of military people who die in active service for the service of their nation. So that it's worrisome that young people are shying away from the military these days. That's because of what they see.
It doesn't seem promising, if you ask me.
So that's the thing. So honestly, there should be that review.
Okay.
From the government and from the people. Like I said, I'm really encouraging the people. It is time, for them to begin to look into these things I have said. How to support their security agencies to help in this fight against bandits.
Of course. Terrorism. Thank you so much for your contribution. I enjoyed the conversation. I'm sure you did too.
Thank you, sir.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.